Hello, everyone. Welcome to Abnormal Investigations. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. Only 4 minutes late, so that's pretty good for me. Had to get Jessie around and make sure she made it on time. But we can't never say that about Randy. He's always here in plenty of time. He is always ready to go. Guys, we got a great show for you tonight. Our guest is going to be just a little bit late. Jesus Payam Jr. is going to be here with us tonight. A lot of you may not know him from his research into the Bigfoot, UFO phenomenons, and encounters that he's had. But also, he's from the hit series, I guess 2 hit series, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. That's who I should have called, right, Randy? But yeah, we're going to have him on with us tonight. We're excited to hear some of his encounters, some of his investigations. He has, from what I've been listening to, some pretty wild ones. Let me get this turned down so I don't scare everybody to death. Jessie has interviewed him on her show, I believe, so she'll be able to give us a little bit of insight on what he's going to be able to say. I'm going to go ahead and bring Jessie and Randy on, guys, and we'll do roll call, and we're going to talk to Randy a little bit about some things that's went on around his house until Mr. Payam joins us. And let's see here if I can get everybody in here, and then we'll do some roll call. All right, everything should be kicking in.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
How are you all doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you, Randy?
Much better.
Good. Good to hear.
I've got a little bit of a delay, so if I talk over anybody, it is not on purpose. I've noticed just between you and Randy, there was a little bit of delay on my end. So
it's always on your end.
It's always on my end. I'm telling you, we got too many streamers. We're a house of streamers. There's Miss Jenny Marie in the chat. She said her beautiful bestie. Hello, Jenny. How are you? We got Ellen in the house. How are you, Ellen? And of course, we got Randy running both the co-host and the chat tonight. As people come up, I will throw them up as I see new people. I don't want to back up on my chat because if I do, then my computer starts lagging even worse, and I start seeing all kinds of different colors and everything. So, yeah, Jesus has got a lot of. I've been watching some of his videos, and I was impressed with some of the stuff. Some of the stuff he has pretty scary.
Yeah.
Michael Scott. Hey, we got Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoots in here with us tonight. It's always good to see. We got Lori C in here with us tonight. Good to see you, Lori. And if I missed anybody, I'll throw them up as you all pop up. But yeah, I mean, this guy has had some pretty amazing encounters. Even some of the photographs that he has is just wow.
Mm-hmm. He's got some pretty clear images of things. Yep.
Yeah. Hello, Figgy. Hello, OCST. Good to see y'all. But yeah, he does have some. I seen the one smiling at the tent is the one I seen. Mm-hmm. It was a pretty clear photograph. You can see the teeth.
Yep.
Did you see the one at the tent that was what was it, a lizard creature?
Like an alien? Yeah, like an alien lizard. Yep.
Gray or I
with
watched
the big
about
red eyes.
Yeah, I watched about 9 to 12 hours worth of interviews on his work, and it's amazing. I mean, I was blown away. I mean, the pictures that he has is just amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah. Well, he's an excellent photographer too.
You can clearly see a face. You can see everything. It's not like this blurry crap 99% of the time that you see elsewhere. I mean, I'm very impressed with it.
So you're saying it didn't need a red circle?
No.
Hell no. You don't need a ring football. No. That's what I was talking about. Now that's
Yeah, that photograph he had at the tent that I was looking at, you can actually see the teeth and where it's smiling, and it looks it does have that look though that a lot of people talk about. Sharon Guy, thank you for moderating tonight. Michelle, I didn't forget you. You know, it had that look that a lot of people talk about, to where they talk about it looked so human, and looking at that photograph he has at the tent, I think that really demonstrates the human side of it, because it does have that human look.
Yeah, and the story behind that photograph too is actually quite funny. Not for the person that was actually there with him, but from the outside in. So hopefully he'll tell that story.
Yeah, you'll have to remind him to tell us about that one.
Yeah.
Ellen, I don't have the photos. I didn't upload them. I was so interested in just his actual data. His encounters are amazing. I mean, this guy has had some really up close encounters. Some that some people probably would still be crazy over. Good to see you, Terminator T800.
I wonder if I have any of them I can show on the. I'll have to look.
So what'd you learn, Randy? Were they any of them similar to what you're experiencing or have experienced?
well, I've never encountered Bigfoot, but I have encountered other. Not, I haven't encountered Bigfoot, but I do believe that they are real. I have had encounters with werewolves, I guess you could call them, if that's what they actually are. I don't really know the names. They haven't told me yet what to call them.
You gonna walk out and ask them?
No, not really. If they wanted me to know, I'm sure they would have already told me.
Okay, let's see. Let's see if you guys can see this. Here's the one image. Oh, wait. Let me see. I'm gonna have to turn this down. Maybe.
How come you ain't got your disco lights running?
Shut up. So, can you kind of see it?
Yes.
Yep.
That's at his tent.
Yep. And then let me see if I can pull up the other one.
I mean, can you imagine at your tent, that thing that huge right there by you? You know, I mean,
no. Here's the alien image. See it?
That alien thing, that would give me the creeps. If that pokes out of my, I'm going to be ready to leave. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to leave. Because those things eat humans if you study the history of them.
Yes, yes. I will be right back. I'll let y'all visit real quick. Jesus sent me a voice message, so let me check that real quick, and I'll be right back with you guys.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, during the interview that I did with him, he sent so many pictures, and I was kind of glad because that's why I ended up doing the pre-record, because he sent me so much stuff. There was no way I was going to be able to get it all in, especially into one or two shows. So, yeah,
you know,
he's got lots of good stuff.
I just recently learned that he was into the cryptid research. I mean, I hadn't really followed this until I found out about it. I've watched about 9 to 10 hours, maybe 12 hours of interviews the past probably 24 hours. And the stuff, the amazing. I mean, I could keep watching more, but I had to get some sleep for tonight's show. That is interesting. I can watch a 3-hour interview with him in it, and it doesn't even seem like 3 hours. I mean, he's that interesting.
Yeah, he has lots of great information stories.
His humor is also he's got a great sense of humor too, and his stories and humor, the time just flies by really quickly, and you don't even notice it.
Yep.
And the material is well worth the time spent listening to it, because not only does he have encounters, but he also has the proof to back it up.
Yes. Yes.
And he's where does he see all these encounters at, Jesse? Do you know mostly where he gets them at? Is it
Well,
Arizona?
he's in New Mexico. I know he does. He goes camping and stuff out there, and he's been doing research on the mountain ranges and stuff too. Because last time I spoke with him, he was doing a lot of the more archaeology stuff. He was um, doing some hiking and getting images of um, the mountainsides with the carvings and stuff like that. He had a lot of stuff on there, but it's yeah, it's like practically in his backyard.
Right. He's got some stuff that's amazing. I
Hmm.
mean, he definitely is a boots on the ground. Hello, Roxanne. Good to see you.
Yep. Yeah, I would love to have an opportunity to go camping with him sometime because seems like he gets a something every single time he goes out.
You may not want to though. You start seeing those lizard things looking in your window.
That's true. I don't know.
And from what I
Or you,
understand, he doesn't carry firearms, nor does he allow anyone to go with him to carry firearms.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, let's let Mike go with him. That'd be fun to see, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Mike handles that red-eyed creature staring at him through a tent with no firearms. I bet he feels vulnerable. You know it. Talk about putting yourself
remember,
on them. That
uh,
you go out in a tent hunting monsters with no firearms. I think that makes you an Oklahoma Scooby snack. Probably,
yeah, yeah.
they're going to eat you. They're going to eat you. You know.
Hello, Dana. Yeah,
Hey, Dana.
you remember though for a while though I did have to go unarmed. I went unarmed for probably close to a year, and it brings a different aspect to the investigation. Definitely, you're a lot more aware. You make sure that your tennis shoes are good and tight. Um, you want to
And
you
you have
want to always
somebody
make
slower,
sure you know.
and you make sure you have somebody that you can outrun with you, right? You don't have
Exactly.
to outrun the monster. You have to be just don't be the one that's that gets caught by it.
Right, and they don't
Yeah.
even you don't even have to be able to outrun them, even if they're like crippled, or you may plan on them getting injured if something comes after you. You know, that's always a possibility.
Is that why you like your sister to go with you, because you like her as bait?
Yeah,
Just
whenever I
kidding.
can get them to go. It seems like I'm mostly on my own. I guess I could go ahead and tell everybody the news I have tonight. I haven't even told Jesse. I may possibly have a field researcher that may go out with me in my area, and that way I won't have to be alone at carrying equipment and stuff like that. I don't know if it'll be a full-time deal, but she's been a friend of mine since fourth grade, and she's like, "Hey, I saw where you need some help, and it's interesting." And she even talked about maybe sitting in on some of our lives. And she doesn't know a lot about what we talk about and what we do, but she's willing to learn. And I think she would be a great person to view everything from outside of the box with a fresh set of questions, and could really bring depth to a conversation instead of just eye blinking and staring at each other, which we're trying to get away from that. But other than that, I think that Randy starts laughing.
More bait, Mike. Just say it. I mean, come on. Kidding.
Roman says, "Where would she find interviews, Randy? Where did you find all your interviews with Jesus?
On YouTube.
Just all over
Just
YouTube?"
yeah. Just type in his first and last name, cryptid research, and look through there. I found more material than I could listen to in a day.
Right.
There's multiple people who's interviewed him on different, and I don't know how many channels, but there's a tons of different interviews out there with him, with people interviewing him about his stuff.
About that camera that's going around to keep burglars away.
We don't got no burglars here, guys. We're good. That was a commercial.
Mm.
Just checking my messages.
Yeah, but I found all that information on YouTube. Just put his first and last name in encrypted research, and you should get quite a bit.
You know, I didn't even know he had that many encounters until I was, looking. I was like, wow, this guy is really like. And I think doesn't he even have like kind of his own method at how he does it and how he captures these creatures?
I'm gonna let him discuss that because he can tell it better. Yes, but he does. He has a very interesting way of going about it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll blame it on Jesse. How's that?
Sure, why not?
Jesse's a good scapegoat to blame it on.
Actually,
Okay.
Mike, you need to listen to this guy because maybe you could learn some tricks to maybe capture some better images, perhaps. I mean,
If I could just get Sasquatch to, just pose for me, that would be a lot easier.
Well,
Thank you,
you're gonna have to go
Sunshine.
camping after that, Mike. You're probably gonna have to go stay a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
We may have to stay. I may have to get me a participant to go out there with maybe some oranges and apples or something and make like an offering to him or something. Hey, Qbot 111's in here. Packing, getting ready to move. Moving is never any fun. Always hated to move. So, Randy, whenever you've seen these werewolf-like looking creatures, and I won't go into everything because we'll have you on the show some night and we'll really dive into everything maybe that you've seen sometime whenever you're ready. But did their eyes appear to you to have that human look, or did you feel more like they were a human?
They look more like a different creature than any. They weren't human at all. They didn't look like a human. They looked like a large wolf with large wolf eyes, larger than my fists.
So you didn't get like the human feeling whenever you looked at them, like, oh my God, this thing's part human.
I've been within a couple feet of them in the daytime, and they're not human at all. They had no bare skin except on their nose, their lips. Now, I didn't see the palms of their hands. I saw the top side. They had tails. They looked just like a wolf, only as large as a horse. And then to keep from being seen in the daylight, when I would walk up on them and catch them, I've caught them napping with my horse. One day I go to walk in my backfield looking for my horse. He's taking a nap. I break the circle of grass that he's standing in, and on each side of him, as big as a cow, they were as big as he was, just a little bit smaller. Both of them black, and they were sleeping in the daylight. Now, where I was standing on the backside of the horse, I could have reached down with my fingers and touched the backs of the werewolves. They were asleep.
Oh, wow. All right.
They
Well,
looked like
we got Jesus backstage, so I'll go ahead and throw him in. And poor guy, if he only knew what he was in for.
No, Mike, if you go camping with him, you don't know what you're in for.
Hey, good to see you.
Welcome. Thank you for late, but I made it. Sorry about that, guys.
How's it
Oh,
going?
you're fine.
Long time no see.
It's been a long while. Yes, no,
Yeah.
just living life, moving to a different house, and doing all kinds of craziness.
Yeah. Life.
How are you guys?
Good.
I'm doing fine. Zeus, my name's Randy. It's nice to meet you. My wife wanted to say that my wife and I watched both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and we enjoyed you in both of those you played.
Cool, thank you. I appreciate that. Send my best.
I will, sir.
Man, you've had some wild encounters.
Yep, from left to right, and every version of paranormal you can imagine.
God,
Yeah, starting from when you were young too. Yep.
You want to
Oh
say
yeah.
hi? I got Logan. Logan's in the street. Tell him hi.
Hello, and it is very great to meet you.
Cool. What's up, Logan? Nice to meet you too. How
He's
old is
my little
Logan?
helper. He's 9.
How
He's going to be a big
9?
boy.
My little
Just
boy's 9
13.
years old too. Jotham, come here. Squeeze through here and say hi to the people.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
The
Nice
little
to
boy,
meet you.
the little boy's 9 years old too.
Ooh,
Just said
cool.
hello.
About your age.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Wow. So you had stuff happening to you at a young age too. That's a lot of people
Yeah.
seems like it happens to them when they're young. It starts when you're young.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think personally that it follows bloodlines. And then like a lot of for me, it was ghosts and aliens. The first part of my life, mainly that I was dealing with, and visitations and all that stuff. And in a lot of my research, I found out that as people got older, especially with the abduction scenario stuff, is when people got past their 30s, the abductions are either stopping or visitations, whichever you want to call it, stopping, or they can't remember anymore, or what. But for me, it's been continual. I personally asked, I didn't want to remember no more if they're going to be coming through and visiting me. I don't mind seeing the UFOs and stuff, that's fine. But yeah, it gets a little too much sometimes. Because
Oh, boy.
just kind of handle life in general, and then you get so absorbed in all the other crap that I deal with, not just that. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
all the other insaneness that I deal with. That's enough. It's like, hey, y'all still want to come? As long as you ain't doing nothing bad, fine, cool, I'm down. But I don't feel like remembering anymore. And ever
Yeah.
since I said that, I haven't remembered nothing. Just the occasional woke up with a new mark on me, or UFOs before and after and stuff like that.
I'd never seen any of the lights and stuff in the area. Like everybody'd seen. I live in like a real rural area in northeast Oklahoma, and I had never seen the lights in the sky like everybody talked about. But about probably a year ago, it started happening, and it started happening in the northeast and in the northwest, and I was like, what is that? Because it's like they were chasing each other. It's really weird. It was kind of like they were playing tag. They would get real bright, and then they would fade out, and then they would get dim, and then all of a sudden they just go up and they're gone.
Yep.
And I was like,
Star Wars.
Yeah. It's really weird. It's it makes you it starts making you think, like all those nights when you were young and you're out in the woods trampling around and stuff, and it makes you wonder, what was that noise that I really heard? What was that, a deer, or was it something else watching me?
Right. Oh, that's for sure. It was just like my last overnight. You could say it was. I just went camping with the folks, but I can't just go camp, even if it's just camping with the folks. They go inside, gets dark, and start hearing noises. I'm outside like this. Ooh, And yeah, the last time I went, it's been a little while since I've gone out and did actual on the field research for Bigfoot stuff. Just for the reason this last year has been crazy. Well, you see, we adopted my nephew. That's who you just met. Well, he's my son now. But yeah, brought him from Australia, and then we had to get a bigger place because we didn't have a room for him. And broke my foot, and just a bunch of fun stuff. So I haven't been able to get in the field and just been dealing with the local ghost stuff here at the house. It's nuts. But yeah, me and my wife we just moved into like old school long single wide trailer, right? Pretty sure it was built in like the 60s or something, because I've been finding a yellow shag in cupboards and stuff. Yeah. And so whoever the local carpenter is that's been working on this place, they have no concept of, I don't know, measuring tapes. And so none of the doors close. Like, after I worked on the front door, I fixed it. Yeah, the front door closes now. But all the other doors, they kind of just like hit the edge. They don't go in. So I instead of rebuilding this whole damn house that I'm renting, I ain't trying to do all that because I ain't gonna get refunded. I put the little hookies, those little metal hooks, just to keep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Because ain't nobody
Yeah.
trying to bust down our doors inside, and what's in there, So it's just little hooks of ice to keep the door closed. My cats like to push the doors, walking around at nighttime, so that's annoying too. So we've only been in this house for our first month now, and put the little hookies. And me and my wife are in the bedroom. I did this, nice cool ghetto rig set up at the end of my bed with the TV right there, and it was real cool. We're like, we get to watch movies all fancy now. So we're like chilling, watching a movie or YouTube or whatever, and we hear like jiggle jiggle on the little hooky, and then it pops open, and the door just swings open. And I'm like, yeah, that had to be the cat doing it somehow.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we get up, we close it again, get back in bed. Bloop, pops open again, door swings open. I was like, all right, honey, we're going to do it one more time. But this time, do the hooky thing, kind of yank on the door a little bit because the cat is at the bottom of the door if it's the cat. You know what I mean? I go, so if you
Right.
can't yank it yourself, then it's not the cat.
Right.
So sure enough, she yanked on it. Nothing doesn't pop open by itself. You can jiggle it all you want. No, that was 2 nights ago that it was doing that. Yeah, so every night when we put the little thingy, by morning, the door's wide open, Yeah. It's wild
You ever think
stuff.
about putting a camera in there on the door so you can kind of watch when you're sleeping?
Yeah, I've been tempted to do that, but right now I think I need to put cameras outside because somebody already tried to break into our house the first week we were here.
Oh no.
Yeah, so yeah, I want to put cameras everywhere, seriously. But yeah, the usually I try not to with the ghost thing because it never leaves me, no matter where I'm at. Either it's following me, but I don't think it's just followers. I run into lots of new ones wherever I go.
Mhm.
They kind of know when you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so I try not to engage them too much in the house, except for when they're being bad. And I gotta be like, hey, you better stop that, ghost. Damn it, I'll go in here, I'll do the prayers, and I'll do the thing, feather and all that stuff. Chill out with that. But usually I try not to do that. But like I was talking about that last time I went camping, I had just got my new phone, fancy pantsy night shot phone thing, and I was just like really excited to try it out because I was hearing all the really cool noises. And it was like elk season, so elks were bugling and whatnot. And I had the audio for all this. I just haven't put it out yet. But it was just really odd because like if any of you guys know elk hunting or the way elks do their thing, I have an elk bugling for 9 hours straight from the same spot.
No.
Thought
Doesn't
that was
sound
kind
right.
of weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later, I heard that, and then I heard some barking. There was no. And my parents were like, "Well, we're going inside now, son." And I was like, "Okay, bye. See you later." And I was out there with banana taped to myself. But yeah. So I used the camera and did the night shot, and I ended up with after I could see it with just the night shot, the stuff I could see in this what I took 2 pictures of. I just kind of aimed it at noises, because I couldn't see with my naked eye. But after all that, and I brightened the images, there was I guess adolescent Bigfoot hanging from a branch. There was a grown-up Bigfoot kind of peeking from the side of a tree. Next to that guy was a gray about the same height is the Bigfoot right next to it in a gray. You see the eyes, everything's real. It's not. You don't have to be like, it kind of looks like it. No, you can see it. And then to the far left, about 5 trees to your left, freaking werewolf. So there was a lot of stuff watching me that night, and they were seeing UFOs pass by, over and stuff. And so it's like, which one is it? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't deal with just one thing. That's what used to bug the heck out of me, once the paranormal world podcast wise, okay, encrypted world podcast wise, for the longest time, it was a very rigid, either you're in a UFOer, a ghoster, or a Bigfooter. You couldn't be all three. It was just one or the other. And each group hated the other group because the other group was crazy. You were right. So it's really hard. I still, like, when I do podcasts, it just depends on what they talk about. If they're the UFO groups, I talk about my abductions and UFO visitations and all that kind of stuff, and my vast knowledge on all that I've studied and researched. And then, of course, with the ghost show, they talk about all my ghost experiences and demons and all that fun stuff that I've dealt with, and skinwalkers. And yeah, so it's just like, it's a little bit of everything. And trying to acclimatize. My wife's used to it finally. We've been married for 7 years now, but she, when we first got married, I'd ask her, "You ever see any of that stuff? Are you gonna marry me?"
You're going to.
Yeah, and she was like, "No, but let's get married." I was like, "Okay." And now I got my boy now, and so, like, not trying to scare the hell out of him, but it's like, if we go camping, son, we might be seeing some weird stuff. Don't worry, they won't eat us yet. But, yeah. So it's like, you pick your topic, and it's there.
Oh, well,
Have you ever had one hurt you? Like, actually
which
hurt
one?
you? Okay, yeah. See, I've never had that happen to me. I grew up around this stuff at my granny's, and it was never at her house until my uncle had took his girlfriend at the time, which is his wife now. Back when he got back from Vietnam, he took her spook hunting, and they had an encounter. And after that, it just stayed at her house. But I was down in the woods here, down on the lake, and I was live. Everybody was watching, and I was being kind of goofy, and I was pushing one of them. It was following me. And I was just being goofy. I was like, "I see you. You're not hiding very well, And I couldn't see it. I was just saying that. I could hear it. And man, whenever I got up to by the trees, I said, "I ought to just cut a switch and switch you." And I got hit right in the mouth with a limb. It knocked the light off my head. It knocked the camera out of my hand. It cut my arm. I mean, yeah.
Well, I got your switch.
Yeah, I got switched.
The only time that I've ever been, I would say, injured in any way or form from any of these individuals of all these oddities, Sasquatch, no, never Sasquatch. No werewolves. They just seem to like to creep and be scary, run by real quick and stuff. It would be, I don't want to say that grays hurt me, but they've cut me many times. You know what I mean? I don't remember it happening while they're slicing me up, but that I would consider kind of not cute.
Right.
Then actual where it was scary as hell, and they seemed, like they wanted to do something, was when I was on the Navajo reservation in northern New Mexico, living there, and an evil entity, spirit, demon, not a skinny walker, but it was definitely a evil spirit of some sort. I have pictures too for that, but yeah, it grabbed me by my ankle. I was close to 400 pounds at the time, and I was sleeping on the floor. A few of us in that trailer, and they just had the bare plywood floors, and it grabbed me by the ankle and dragged me about 15 feet across that plywood floor with lots of splinters. Yeah, yanked the crap out of me. And yeah, I would say that's the most violent ones physically got with me. I had, I don't know if you've heard of the Hat Man. Have you heard of the Hat Man?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know what it was because I hadn't heard about it yet. This was I would say probably 2004-ish, 3-ish, in that realm world. And I was in my room, and like I said, by this time I'd seen everything, pretty much. So not a lot of stuff shocks me anymore when I see weird crap. Now I just go, "Ooh, is that real? Let me pull out my camera and look, because if it's not, I am in trouble. I need to go to the doctors." But I see so much weird shit that I have to. That's the only way I can make sure it's for real is by pulling out my camera and doing. People are like, "How can you get so many shots of this?" And so don't you'd be too nervous, you'd be too scared. And it's like, no, dude, I see it so much now. I just pull out my camera right away because I want to know if it's real. If I can film it, it's probably real. So I wake up in the middle of the night. I usually have a night light on of some sort because now I'm okay with the dark now. But back then I was still kind of like, because I'd get messed with so much by things. But so there was very little light in the room, but seeable. You can get up and walk to the bathroom without falling on yourself. So I stand up and there's the Hat Man in front of me. Pure darkness, big old hat, and I was just like, what the heck? And then just like if it was a stupid movie, it was like everything kind of goes wee 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 wee, and then you're somewhere else, right? If that makes sense. But
Right.
it was like a spin or something, it was just really quick. And all of a sudden I was in a different place. I actually drew a picture. I'm gonna take the phone off the thing so I can show you the picture. Okay, so walk with me, everybody. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go into my workout room and also what I call my scary mask and cool stuff room that me and my wife like to collect. I have my other section where it's not scary stuff, but I didn't know where to put all the scary stuff in the new place. All right, let's see here. Turn this light over here. Okay. Let's see if I can show it to you. There we go. Let's see. Of course, the lights on one. Here. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's and that's the place that I suddenly was. If you can see on the chest of him, there's knives.
Uh-huh.
Can you see
Oh,
that?
yeah.
I don't know if you can see that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I can.
All right. Back to the room now. Okay, so now that I'm in this place and it's lit up with that strange orange, creepy light, there is no foliage anywhere of any sort, no dead trees, no nothing. It was just barren, dusty, and hot. And the cloud coverage went on forever. And here we go, sitting down. And so I look at him, and the hat and the outfit he's wearing is not pure black anymore. I can see that he's wearing a cowboy duster, long old school cowboy duster, leather. The hat's made of leather, and it's not solid black material. It looked like pieces of leather, all stitched together, but all dark, leather. And I got the impression, the feeling, you know what I mean, the sixth sense,
Yep.
that it was
Yep.
all human skin of some sort.
Ooh.
And on his chest, he was wearing a old school vest, like an old Western type, but again, all black leather, all patchy, and he had those like throwing knives on his chest, and each one looked like it had been homemade. He made it himself. You could see the hammer marks in these little blades, these iron blades. And I just looked at him because I was just like, I seen a lot of weird stuff. So I was just like, huh. That's literally what I told him. I looked at him, I go, huh. His face was just darkness though. Empty, no end to it, no eyes, nothing. Just not there. just empty black hole. And I look at him and I go, huh, well, you're a funny looking one, aren't you? And as soon as I said that, I think that pissed him off. And he grabbed one of his knives and tried to stab me in my rib cage. You know what I mean? He grabbed it like off him like this and went like that towards my rib cage. And I am a professional former, professional bodyguard, and a bunch of other stuff, you know, with fighting and, you know, self-defense. So my immediate reaction was just, as soon as he was trying to stab me, he was grabbing, spinning him around, and I put the knife up in his face. Well, his back was now towards me because I grabbed him real quick and spinned him. Didn't expect that, I'm guessing. So, but as soon as that knife touched that black area of which should have been under his jaw, he turned to a big dust of black mist, and shot out like that. And all of a sudden, I was back in my room, and I was just like, "Oh, that was weird. We'll go back to bed now." You know what I mean? So I wake up in the morning, and this was at my folks' house. And I wake up in the morning, and my mom calls my phone from outside. She's leaving for work or whatever. And she goes, "What did you do to your window?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? I didn't do nothing to my window. I just woke up." She goes, "It's broken." And I was like, "My window's broken. Tripping, you know, whatever. Stop being silly, Mom." And she goes, "Go look right now." She goes, "I'm sitting outside in the car, warming up the car. Your window is broken." So I got up, went back to my bedroom and turned on the light because I had the blackouts, you know, curtains. And yeah, apparently I had this big old birdhouse my dad made. He makes some heavy duty, serious construction birdhouses with full roof tiles and everything. So they weighed a good like 40, 50 pounds, these dang little birdhouses he makes. And I had one that he had been working on sitting on my like an air conditioner, portable air conditioner deal that was at the end of my bed, kind of, but closer to the window. And when that thing shot out away from me, apparently we had been in the room the whole time. Right? Well, when he went zoopy out away from me, his mist, whatever, apparently grabbed onto that birdhouse and went with him and lodged the birdhouse with the curtains in the window, broke the window.
So even though it was some type of a mist, it still had some solidity to it that it.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, because he had gloves on, 2 leather gloves. I'm wondering if he's all draped in leather, so he couldn't touch the iron when he used those knives. And the fact that I stuck that iron in his face, well, you know what they say about how the iron works with spirits and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just think that was really interesting. And I got the distinct feeling that it was a hit. He was sent to go get me. You know what I mean? And he didn't expect me to react the way I react, because I'm guessing most people, when they see shit like that, they're like, "Ah!" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Oh, weird." You know?
You know, I've never seen the Hat Man, but I did have something weird happen to me when we moved out to this property. The first time I moved out here, I moved an old 60s model mobile home that me and my dad had redone together. And my kids were going down the hallway, and they both started screaming and having a fit. And they were like, "Dad, there's somebody in the hallway." And I was like, "No, there's nobody in the hallway." They're like, "Dad, there's somebody in the hallway." I mean, they were having a fit. So I get up and I go look, and there's nobody there. And then they're like, when they describing, they're like, there was a man standing in the hallway. He was wearing a hat. And they said whenever we went to go down the hallway, he pointed for us like to go back to the front room, like not to be in the hallway. But he had a dog with him, they said. They said there was a dog with him. And they seen that several times. I never seen it. The closest I've ever had to that is sleep paralysis. That was total hell. That scared me to death. I hated that.
Yeah, it's no fun. No.
That's one of my fears. I do not ever want to experience that again.
No, that stuff sucks, man. I remember the first time that I was, I guess, there's being awake for sleep paralysis, and then there's being awake during sleep paralysis. That would be the difference between you're in a dark room, barely can see anything at all, and you just can't move. You don't know what's going on. It feels like something's on you, but you're not sure. I've had that, plenty of times growing up. But the first time that I ever had that when I was really awake, was again early 2000. It was actually 1999 in El Paso, Texas. Again in the trailer, single wide trailer, and the way my bedroom was set up, uh, it was next to a street lamp kind of outside. So a lot of light came, always came through the room. So it would be like my room was always twilight. You know what I mean? Inside there, and if
Right.
trailer bedrooms, they have that little, they have the closet that protrudes, and that little spot that the dresser goes in, right, in the corner. So I'm in the bedroom. I haven't even gone to sleep yet. I just got in bed, and I started hearing stuff running up and down my hallway. And I'm like, oh hell no, right? So I'm just I'm staying in my bed, and then I feel something tugging on my blanket. And I look down and I see little hands pulling on the blanket. And then I start pulling back. I'm pulling back. And then I go paralyzed. And then, they're
Right.
saying. And they pulled the blankets off of me. And then I kind of looked into the corner, and there was a gray standing in the corner. And then I blacked out, And that really freaked me out. I didn't have a dresser there. So I thought I was being real slick. And so during the daytime, I went to Walmart, bought some material, and I hung material right there. So now the material is flush with the closet all the way to the wall. So I was like, I ain't got to see you now. You're going to be in the corner behind the dang thing. And that was even stupider to do, or more stupid. Because same thing happened the next night. But this time I got to see creepy little alien or demon hands, whatever you want to call them things, reach around the material, grab it, and look at me out it. And yeah, man, that's some scurry ass stuff. Having that, when weird stuff's happening in general, but just being unable to move, but you're awake and you're not under control of your body at all. It's like, ugh.
Yeah. That gives me goosebumps when you say that, because it reminds me of something that happened to me when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we lived in a house, but it had the closet like you're talking about. It kind of came out into the room.
Yep.
I was sleeping. My dad was an antique. He loved to collect antiques. My dad was a big guy, and he collected antiques. And I had this old hospital bed that I slept in. It was the old crank one, you could crank the head up or crank the feet up. That was my bed. So I was sleeping in that, and I would see stuff. And we had just moved into this house, and I would see stuff crawling in the floor, and I was telling them, I was like, there's something in my room. And of course, they were like, go back to bed, tomorrow's school, we're watching the late night show or whatever. And I go back to bed and scared to death. And then I believed in the tooth fairy. I had lost a tooth. So I was asleep, had my tooth under my pillow, my closet light comes on, and I'm like, so the door opens, a lady walks out, and I didn't look up at her because I thought she was a tooth fairy. I would act like I was asleep, but I could see her nightgown because I was peeking, and it was a red nightgown. And she walked over to the bed, stuck her hand under my pillow, and raised my head up, laid my head back down, and then she walked back into the closet and turned out the light. I went back to sleep because the next morning I woke up and I told Mom, I was like, hey, the tooth fairy came last night, but she didn't give me no money because my tooth was still there. Well, they never believed me. So when I got older, probably in my 20s, my dad was building houses, and we was building a house for my mom's brother. And a guy came over that was now living in the house we lived in. And they were talking. We wasn't even talking about nothing scary. And I remember he said, yeah, my daughter, Amy, she hates that first room in that hallway to the left. She says there's a lady in there in a red dress that won't leave her alone. And I was like, I told her. She's there.
Yep. We got to listen to our kids. When they see stuff, they're probably seeing stuff. Like,
I hated that. Hated that room. Hated that room. You know, when you go in that room, you had a bad feeling, and whenever you would leave, you just wanted to run. You just wanted to get out of that room. I hated that room. Did not. I don't know. A lot of people said, you know, could it have been the old hospital bed? You know, maybe it had something attached to it because it was really old, and
Maybe. Never know.
maybe she was
Things
coming in
do
there to
attack
check on me.
themselves.
Tell her I don't
Like
need no physical.
I bought
Yes, they do.
a Breaking Bad RV, you know, like the show, and from just a wild dude. I think he was trying to like live out Breaking Bad himself, and so the RV was real sketchy. He had the gas tank inside the RV with the line hooked up like that to run it, and oh yeah, and on the outside, a whole area had been burned away from a mysterious fire. And he sold it to me. I bought it from him, and we hauled it over, and it still had a bunch of junk in it and stuff. He was living in there. It looked like it just pulled it from a junkyard, you know. And I'm cleaning it out, and this dude, some kind of tie with the cartels and stuff, and Juarez, and all. It's like didn't want to get into. I was like, okay, that's nice, guy. I'm going to take this now. You go. You have a good day, right? And so the dude, you know, I got tattoos, you know, everywhere and my face and all that stuff, but this dude had tattoos everywhere. You know what I mean? It's one thing having teardrops, but it's like, yeah, rainfall and craziness, loco, you know? And I find a 3-foot tall porcelain red-headed doll in a pretty dress inside there. Of all the stuff that's in there, which ain't none of it was pretty and porcelain like that, why are you gonna have when you a scurry ass dude like that? You know what I mean? Probably been up a week or something. Why you got a porcelain doll in there with red chuffy hair and you know? So like that doll's still there in there. I have it on the front seat, and I'm really nice to her. I'm like, you just enjoy the view. This is your RV. Mm-hmm.
Good choice.
Good to see you. How are you doing, girl? You know, I'm like, I ain't throwing nothing away. I don't know.
Good choice.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll wake up and they'll be in my room staring at me. You know,
love what you did with your hair today.
you know, dude, it's like because I can feel when something's something, and that doll, that's just not a regular doll. I collect all kinds of collectibles and Mario stuff and old 18 stuff, just a bunch of cool stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Chucky dolls and all kinds of weird stuff like that. And those ones don't do that to me. You know? Oh, watch this. Hey, honey.
Yeah.
Can you get the evil little baby from the workout room?
Oh, John. Yeah.
Yeah. Where did we get that?
It was Facebook Market.
Facebook Market. I got this on Facebook Market. Okay. I'm sure you've probably seen this somewhere at the Halloween stores or something, but it's a creepy little bastard, man. I'm telling you, it's like I don't think it's real, like it's haunted or nothing, but it's creepy enough. We don't need to be haunted. Scary little ass baby, you know. I just have to show you and your audience how nutty it is. Watch, she's coming right now. Okay, here she comes. All right.
You know, I've had something.
I need auntie over here, Mules. Okay.
It's the guest star.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
No.
And it jiggles and shakes. I'm not taking it. You hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would have its own room at my house. I think. I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah. But that little thing has nothing on the scurry compared to that dog. Ugh. No.
Wow.
But yeah,
You know,
so
I think those things can have attachments because when I was little, I thought I was crazy because my dad, before I was ever born, he had won a lion at a carnival, right, Mom? And it had one paw up, and the paw was down. It was sitting on like a stand. It was made out of like porcelain. They had it sitting in their front room, And I would wake up like toward the morning. I was real young. And I would always run to their bedroom, and try to wake dad up or jump up beside him. And whenever I got up, it would grab me. Or I thought I was dreaming, but it would grab me and hold me. It wouldn't let me go. It didn't hurt me, but it just wouldn't let me go to their room. And finally, I would break free. I thought I was crazy all them years. And then we got older, probably 10 or 12, and my sister was like, it grabbed me too. So they had it out in the garage, and I accidentally knocked it off the shelf, and they got busted, so it had to go.
Accidentally.
Yeah.
Well, see, like when I was a little youngster, I had they'd come out my closet, and those damn closets. So my parents didn't believe me when I would tell them, because I had my room would always be cluttered, and my closet would be stuffed, with junk. It didn't used to be like that. It was until those things started coming out from the damn closet, I would stick stuff in the closet so they couldn't fit in there with them. I would throw shit all over the floor because I was hoping they would trip trying to get to my bed at night. My parents thought I was just trying to make a dirty room, and they had no idea that I was really seeing all this crazy stuff, and things are coming and visiting me and messing with me and scaring me and taking me. That's the part that sucks, when they take you. It's one thing being messed with, but it goes to a whole new level when they're able to take you with them.
Do you remember them taking you, like what they would do or say or what it looked like where you was at?
Yeah. Let's see. The way it would usually happen would be I'm in the room, can't move all of a sudden, see the little gray guys, they get over me, I black out, I come to, I'm in their ship, their house. I don't know where the heck I'm at, but everything's going white. They're walking around. They're having me like either they'll depend on, like, there was different ones that got me and took me to different places. The little gray guys would usually take me up there and they'd be involved with some kind of medical procedures. Then like checking stuff on me. Another group of them, they had me, this is when I was a little bit older, towards adulthood, had me play with little baby ones that were just like mixed breeds, you know what I mean, of human and them. Then I had another time where I got taken where, I would see a UFO usually beforehand that night. I would see UFOs. That would lead up to it. And then there was one group that I only saw one time, don't remember ever again, but they looked like the Easter Island heads, but real, live, and they were a minimum, I would say 20 feet tall, maybe. And they were old as crap, leathery skin, super big, giant, droopy ears with the jowls, but they looked just like the Easter Island head dudes. And they were all around me in it was a weird dark room, and there was a slight light from above, so I could see all of their faces around me, and they were having me do physical things like push-ups and weird, just physical things, like just testing me if I could do certain stuff. And when they talked to each other, it was in a real super duper. Imagine Andre the Giant. You all know who Andre the Giant is, right? You know his voice. Well, imagine if Andre the Giant was trying to do a deep voice, not his regular one. No, he's gonna do a deeper voice. So these voices were super duper low guttural mumbling, but for however reason I could understand what they were saying. And one of them had said, I can't believe he's able to do those things in that state because I was fat. And I took offense to that. And I was like, I just remember in that moment, I was like, hey, what the hell, And every time, whenever they realized I could hear them or understand them, I'd be knocked out. And I'd wake back up in bed. Another time, I was at my grandmother's house, and I woke up middle of the night, and right outside the window was a giant disc with pink lights kind of going like that on the around it, just every like 4 feet or something. And which it shouldn't have been able to be right there because my grandma had 2 solid, steel poles for clothesline right outside my window, kind of like about 10 feet back. So those things should have been crushed, you know what I mean, by a giant UFO. And I just knew time to go. So I got up, walked straight to it, walked right through the wall, was inside it. Next thing I remember, I'm outside. It's the sun's barely about to come up, and there's 3 UFOs over me, and they all have pink like hieroglyph shapes on the bottom of them, and they're spinning like that. And then I black out, and then I'm back in my room. So it's I've had every version of them. I've seen them popping out walls. I've seen them just appearing. I've seen short ones, tall ones. It's just really odd. It was like I was being visited by multiple groups, and for whatever reason, they were really curious why. I guess the other ones were interested in me. I don't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've seen the ghosts. I've seen demons and aliens.
So do you think the Greys are demons, or do you think there's something separate?
I think the Greys are both sides, the fallen angel sides and the regular angel sides. I believe they're just different orders of angels, different types, because there's so many different types of them. And then there's the whole bunch of them that are apparently government issued that they're doing themselves now that they've met them and figured out certain things. But yeah, I think it's there's nothing alien at all. They're not coming from billions of miles away. A whole bunch of them, whenever you bring Jesus into the story, they're just like, oh, gotta go. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
why would an alien give a crap? Why would an alien give a damn about
Right.
Jesus, showing up possibly? You're like, I'll tell him,
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's why I lean more towards that. It's not an alien thing. It's ancient evil creatures. Also, it's hard to differentiate them because this is the example I give. Okay, this is for the people that believe in God and Jesus and angels and demons and all that, and for the people that don't believe in God but think demons are real. Come on. So say this example I give. Say you got some friends, right? A group of people, and they're all Democrats. Okay. And one day, half of them decide to become Republican. All right. So now they're different sides, right? But because they changed parties doesn't mean they changed their vehicles or the way they dress or look.
Right.
But in the beginning, they were all one gang, one group. So I think that the problem is one, they don't care if we know which ones they are. They're doing their thing, they're doing their business, whatever their missions are. May they be angels to protect somebody, help them spiritually, and whatever the case is. They've in ancient history throughout time, angels have had ships, chariots, and whatnot. They didn't always just go around, flying around with their little wings, So I think that's another reason why some abduction scenarios are horrible, evil, torturous, sadistic, sexual, you know what I mean? And then you get the other abduction scenarios where they're like, oh no, UFO came and saved me. Oh no, this, angels showed up and protected me from this and protected me from that. And you got the ones where they get taken up there and they're the nicest people to you. There's humans up there and some grays, and then they've got babies and they're teaching you nothing but good and to save the world and save each other. And then the other ones are like, give me that baby boy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna stick this in you, and yeah. So it's been going on for a long time, and it's the same exact stories from times of old, and the fairy lights and succubuses and incubuses, and the same things that have been happening over and over. these same individuals and entities, good or bad, have been there since the beginning. We've just been calling them different things every different reset. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I was younger, I always say that a demon literally scared the hell out of me. And the reason I tell people that is because I seen a demon, and because of seeing the demon, I got saved. Because when I seen it, I knew if you're there, the other has to be there too. Because I mean, whenever I seen it, people say it looks like a shadow, and it was kind of like a shadow, but not really. It was darker. And the best way I know to explain it is like if you made a shadow with a pencil, how you shadow something in, you got like a shadow, or somebody walking by. This was more of a thicker shadow, more defined. You could see the hair, the facial structure, and just the way it moved. It had its own movement. It wasn't copying something else. And the feeling in the room, hard to breathe, heaviness. My ears were hot. My face was hot. I was burning up. And you
Yeah.
had that, and I got to get out of here. I mean, it was a terrifying deal. And
Oh yeah.
that was, the moment I realized, hey, if you're there, then the other's got to be there.
Yep. That's what did it for me when finding Jesus. I had experienced so much evil in my life. Seen some horrible things, met some horrible people, worked in prisons and the worst ghettos in the United States, and just some terrible places. And then seeing the spirits all the time and evil ones, and yeah, it was simple as that. If you got evil, then you've got good. If you got demons, you got angels. If you got angels, you got God. If you got God, you know what I mean. So yeah, that's what did it for
Yep.
me too. Because at first I was thinking, just aliens and stuff. But the deeper I got into it and involved, and the more I researched in ancient history and the Bible and everybody's Bible, that was one thing I didn't know which Bible was right, so I decided to read them. Try to read them all, and came to a conclusion it was the same damn book pretty much, just with people picking and choosing stuff that fit their scenario. And they all lead back to the same damn story. And yeah, the people that don't heed the warnings, same outcome every time.
Yep. Yep. Just like at my granny's when we had all that happening. It was in the 90s. It had been in the 90s. They had a pond, and two things happened in that pond. I shot one of these things, and also we had a crop circle happened in the 90s. The pond was full of cattails. It had pretty much grown up with cattails, and it had a part of the pond to whenever it would get too full, it was actually a hog pasture, a hog pond. The pond would rise up and then it would go out of this like little creek thing that ran off to the bigger pond, but they had my grandpa thrown a piece of tin over it so he could walk across it. Well, this thing had been bothering my mom since she was a little girl, and my mom was taking care of her mom at the time that had had a stroke. And me and my cousin decided, I don't know why we thought we could do it. My uncles couldn't kill it, or find it, but we thought we could. So I grabbed, my 410 single shotgun, and my cousin takes his 22, and we're like, okay, Mom, you go ahead and go down there. We'll act like we didn't go with you tonight. We're going to sneak down there in the dark, and we're going to take care of it. So we snuck down there, and we hid up on some old oil tanks that were up on a hill where we could see my granny's house, and we saw it walk around the back of the house, and I was like, there it is. It wasn't huge like everybody talks about. This wasn't like an 8-9 footer. This was like 6 foot, 7 foot. It's nothing huge. And we're like, let's get it. So we start going up to it, and it runs, and it goes into the hog pasture, and it goes what we thought into the cattails, but I'm guessing it doubled back. But we thought it went into the cattails, so we went into the cattails. We could hear it moving, and we could see the cattails moving. And it's pitch black. And we got one of those little cheap Walmart double D plastic battery flashlights. We're trying to find it. And all of a sudden, it steps out face to face with me. And it was right there. I could hear it breathing. So I shot it. And whenever I shot, my cousin started shooting with his 22 semi-automatic. It fell. It fell right on the 10. Just boom. Just, I mean, like you killed it. And I was like, oh my God, we killed this thing. So I start reloading my gun, and he's trying to reload his 22. It gets up, and it runs up behind the chicken house. And the chicken house is probably 50 yards away. Well, my mom and them heard us shoot the gun outside. So they come running outside. They drive the car around. They got the headlights on us and everything. They're like, what are you all doing? You know, what are you shooting at? You know? And we're like, we got it. We got it. And there's that dark purple blood, like that arterial bleed blood, all the way up behind the chicken house. And it was scratching on the chicken house, and you could hear it growling. Well, Mom and them wouldn't let us go back there to what we thought we was going to finish this thing off. She's like, no, y'all get your butts in the house, you know. And they made us go inside, and they ended up calling my uncle and my dad, and they show up, you know. And when they showed up, whatever it was behind the chicken house took off running. And when it was running, it had something over its shoulder. And they couldn't quite tell what it was. At first, they thought that it might have took a pig. It might have took a bag of feed, you know. Did it grab some food or something? But then my uncle got to thinking about it, and he said, you know, I bet your mom saved your ass that night. He said, because I bet you shot a juvenile. It ran to the back of that chicken house where that mama or that daddy was, and if you would have went back there, that would have been it. That was the baby it was carrying over its back or whatever when it ran off.
Yep, it can get pretty dicey when we shooting them things. Right? No, that's wild stuff, man. That's wild stuff for sure. I'm sure that wasn't a happy one at all. You know?
Oh no. And you know, my grandma, I called her Granny. Her dad was full blood Cherokee, and she would always tell us. It's like she knew there was different things, because we would always say, because it would come up to the house every night around 8:30. You could count on it every night. I mean, we got used to it. We got used to you're in the house before dark. You got the quilts and stuff over the windows so it can't see us, you know, and you walk real easy in the house so the floors don't creak, you know, and you just learn how to live with it. But she would always tell us, she'd say, now that old Bigfoot out there, she'd say, he ain't gonna hurt you. You leave him alone, he'll pretty much leave you alone. He's just nosy. He just wants to see what you're doing, pretty much. But then she'd look at us and she'd say, but now those other things out there, they'll hurt you. But she'd never say what those other things were, just those other things out there, you know.
Yeah.
They just scare the hell out of us, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So
One thing that I think is really interesting about the Sasquatch is a lot of people can't fathom how strong they really are. They don't really think about it. Besides people that have done maybe some research into the early reports when they were messing up the construction sites, flipping over dozers and stuff, you know, and backhoes, throwing 50-gallon, you know, barrels full, like nothing. The one thing that really put into perspective of the strength of one was up on the Navajo Res I was on, Bigfoot's everyday thing there. They had names. The locals had names for them for specific ones. And there was a group of them on that property, well, on the res, that were just mean sons of bitches. I mean, evil. Not all of them were like that, but there was a group that I got some pictures, and man, them some. It's like okay. You know, what's that movie? The Hills Have Eyes, right? The Hills Have Eyes. It was that group of Sasquatch, because there's normal Sasquatch out there, and then there's the Hills Have Eyes type of ones out there. You know what I mean? Those these ones. And I had just filmed one walking across the field, and I took off after it, you know. And I got halfway past the pasture or whatever you want to call it, and there was a house there, and the dog started, you know, rah, 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 freaking out and stuff. And the dude comes out and he's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Hey, just saw Bigfoot, just chasing." He was like, I wouldn't do that, man. I was like, why not, brother? And he was like, well, yesterday morning, he was a neighbor. He was came over here pretty upset. Wanted me to come over, and I was like, what happened, man? He was like, well, pissed off one of them Sasquatch. They call them the Hairy Boys there. You know, pissed off one of the Hairy Boys and killed his horse. And I was like, ooh. I was like, what, it break its neck or something? Or I bite it or something? He was on nope. He ripped off the hind leg of his horse. Ripped off the hind leg of a horse. Didn't eat it, didn't take it. Nope. Just ripped it off and left it there. You ever try ripping off a chicken leg that's alive? That's not easy.
Right.
You ever rip off the leg of a Bambi? Again, kind of hard to do. But on a freaking full-grown male horse? Dude.
Right.
Wow. I mean, that's just like...
I could...
You know, I learned something I thought was weird. Whenever I was doing the Girl Scouts of Oklahoma, I investigated that, the killing of the Girl Scouts, because there's a lot of happened during that murder. And it's in the FBI reports and everything that they saw a shapeshifter, and there was a lot of weird things going on. So up in that area, it is still heavily native. They still go by the old ways. You still have your shamans, your everything. And I tried to talk to them, and before I could even talk to them, they had to approve to talk to me. And I told them, I'm Cherokee, I'm Cherokee descendant, and they're like, well, yeah, but you have to meet certain criteria. And so finally they got a hold of me one day, and they was like, so they discussed you, and they said they will talk to you. They said you were good medicine, that it was okay to talk to you. So we were talking about the Bigfoot, and I was asking them questions, and I said, so what do you think about the dog man? And they started laughing at me. And they were like, that's what white people call them. And I was like, I don't understand, what do you mean? He goes, they're all the same. And I was like, what do you mean they're all the same? Because you have, people say there's dog man, there's werewolves, there's Bigfoot. And they just kind of laugh at me. They're like, no, you don't understand. We lived with them. We talked to them. We used to trade with them. They're all the same. And I said, but they're different. He goes, okay, you have a Chihuahua. You have a Rottweiler. He said, some dogs have short tails, some have long tails, some have long snouts, some don't have no snouts. Some are bigger, some are muscular, some are littler. He said, but they're all dogs.
Yeah.
I was like, I never thought of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them have protruding snouts, just like apes, just like us. Some of us look like apes. Some of us have features that don't. You know what I mean? I've run into quite a few people that literally their mouth comes out like an ape mouth would. You know what I mean? Yeah, people look like rats. Hell, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me. But yeah, same thing with all them. So I said there's some regular Sasquatch, and then there's some Hills Have Eyes Sasquatch. There's ones that have been interbred with different things, and yeah, you do the DNA thing like we've done already several times now with Sasquatch. It doesn't say what type of Sasquatch. It just says, unrecognizable, DNA. Half of it's human, the other half we don't know. But yeah, there's many different variations. And that's the thing about what's out there. If when it talks about the Bible, over 200 different things were mixed with us, and we had so many different types of, I wouldn't say intellectual, but aware of themselves and whatnot, animals that were created because of all that mixing around that they did and got in trouble for.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have me wondering about something on one of the photos you have of that. It looked like a lizard or something looking in maybe the tent or something. Randy was showing it to me.
Oh yeah, that night. Yeah, so
wow.
There was three individuals that I know of that showed up that night. 2 Sasquatch, And both Sasquatch, they look not related. Like they're from different families. They don't have the same noses. They don't have the same mouths. And then there was do we call it an alien? Do we call it a reptilian? Well, I don't know what to call it, but it had the head shape of a gray, the eye shape of a gray, but green skin and red eyes. The other question is, was it looking in the tent from floating, or was it as big as those Sasquatch? Because it was I'm 6'3", 6'4" with some nice boots, but 6'3", and my head didn't touch the top of the tent. So for these individuals to look straight down into the tent, you need to be 8 foot plus, minimum, to be able to look down on the tent and not lean on the tent. You know what I mean? So yeah,
when that thing was staring at you with the red eyes, what did you feel at the time when it was looking at you?
Well, this is the thing though. I didn't get to see them. What I was doing, the dude that was directly under looking up could see him, and that's why he was like this pretty much. You know what I mean? Freaking out. And I was over here in the tent, you flashing the flashlight and filming, doing the taking the pictures and whatnot. So if you ever look at a screen, like on a window, if you look directly at it, you can see through it beautifully. But if you get on the side of that screen and look at it, it becomes solid. You know what I mean? So my angle, I couldn't really see anything. I knew what was there because one of them put his hand on the tent, giant hand. One of them reached under the tent, knocked over the dude with a giant arm. And I that's the area I research in, so I know who was normally there. And so to me, I was just having a blast. I thought it was hilarious because that dude said he didn't believe in Bigfoot, that I was full of crap. I was making it all up. And so yeah, I was like, because that's what I told him when I invited him. I yelled it right before we set up camp, and I said, "Hey, he doesn't think you're real. Come on down and say what's up." And he just looked at me like, "Really, bro? That's how you're gonna get him to come here?" So it worked. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's just, I don't know what to say it was, but they all hang out. I'll tell you that out in our forest here. That's why it's called the land of enchantment, New Mexico state motto, the land of enchantment. For all the criminals, the land of entrapment. Oh yeah. Come on vacation, leave on probation. Yes, sir. So, but yeah, so it's like in these mountains, there's so much between the spirits, the bad occult. We have a lot of the 666 going around here, and plenty of stick stars, finding places and whatnot. But between all that evil stuff going on, and witchcraft and Bigfoots and UFOs, and, I mean, the list goes on, man. But I never realized that they all would hang out together like the freaking monsters. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? They're all hanging out. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to understand. It's like, but I guess when it all comes to the end, it's like you've got teams. You got good and evil, and evil.
I always thought
it's wild. It's like what you're saying is almost describing my area, because where I live, we have a huge cult problem, and we have always had the cryptids, and you have the Native Americans. We have a place down here. It's called the Payment Grounds, and it's where the natives used to trade with the cavalry. I found a lot of cool stuff down there, and but it's like there's something to that, because whenever you've seen that green thing you was talking about, I thought I saw a reptilian too until I saw your picture, and I was like, did I see a reptilian that night, or did me and my mom and brother-in-law, did we see a gray? Is that what was looking at us through the fork of the tree? Because when Mom seen it first, she told me to come here, and we was fishing. We were out fishing on the lake. We was night fishing for catfish, and she's like, come here. And I walk up to the truck, and she's like, look in the fork of that tree. And I look. It looked like a big bullfrog to me at first. I was like, man, that's a big bullfrog. And she's like, no, you better look. My eyes are still focusing from being up by the lanterns, and then I see these two big yellow eyes. and I see it blinking, and it's got green skin and like black dots on it, and it's like staring at, just watching us. And I'm like, and Mom's like, just ignore it, act like you don't see it, leave it alone, we'll leave. And I went back the next day and took a tape measure and measured from the ground to where it would have to be looking through there. It would have had to been over 7 foot tall.
Mhm. Yep, yep, yep.
And that really got to me. And I was like, it was only 10, 12 feet from us. And it was just standing there watching, just sitting there, just blinking its eyes, just watching us. It had yellow eyes though. The eyes were yellow.
Yep.
Levon,
Sorry,
Levon
man.
wants to know, Jesus, what your theory of Bigfoot? What is it? What do you think it is?
Well, I think like all the old stories from biblical times, Sumerian times, and all my native families and tribes that I've lived with, worked with, researched, it's all the same thing. That it's half angel and half just a local hominid that was here when they showed up. Whenever that was, and they mixed it with them, and but yeah, I don't think it's just a natural evolved animal. I think it's very human-esque. Depending if it's honestly possessed, I think they get possessed by evil spirits too. But yeah, I think they're physical animals. They have languages. They can do all the stuff that we can do, but for whatever reason, they're not allowed to. Because if they wanted to, they could. They really, honestly, there would be no stopping Sasquatches if they just rolled into town one day.
True.
All of them.
And then,
It'd be like
what you say?
unleashing a bunch of Incredible Hulks on a city.
Yeah.
Shoot them all you want.
They tear a horse's leg off and beat you to death with it.
Yeah, But like the one thing that I think is really odd for the paranormal people, as in ghost wise and whatnot, that go to forests and do their investigations that don't believe in Bigfoot and whatnot. You got to think this, because I think that some of this is a spiritual thing, that they're thinking they're seeing Bigfoots. Not all of them. I'm sure there's some Bigfoots that can do some wild shit. Just like there's humans that can do wild stuff with, black magic and all kinds of other different things. But I think that we're dealing with, on some occasions in the forest and other places, the spirits of Sasquatch. Dead Sasquatch that have been killed or just died. So think about that. Sometimes those investigators that are out there, we're hearing Sasquatch. It's tangible. It can make things crunch and break. It can throw rocks. But it can also just go into nothing. It can manifest. It can, be all kinds of different things. So I'm thinking it's both. You're seeing real Sasquatches in the area, but we're also dealing with entities of former past Sasquatches that are still around. Because that brings up the debate of, does everybody have souls? Do dogs have souls? Do cats have souls? Do people only have souls? I don't know who all has souls, but I know a whole bunch of what's here on this here plane have spirits that continue after it dies or we die. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I caught some EVPs at a place I investigate down here, and one of the weird EVPs we caught was, it sounded like one was having a conversation with another one, and it said, "Why did I have to die?" And it was real plain, like, why did I have to die? I take my sister with me. She used to go with me a lot. For some reason, they got fixated on her, and they were calling her mama. You'd hear that a lot. And they was always say her name, like, Sarah. Like, they were so happy that Sarah was there. And when I would go alone, we would catch the EVPs, and they were asking for Sarah. They were always more in tune with, but she could see things I couldn't, because we was down at the lake, and she started having a fit. I mean, she was tripping out, And she's like, "There's a lady standing in the trees." I was like, "I don't see nobody." She's like, "Mike, she is right there. She's walking at us." I was like, "There's no lady there." I mean, I'm shining the light and I'm looking. There's nobody there. She's like having a fit. She's like trying to get behind me. So I took the IR camera off of my chest and I was like, "Here, if you see her, you take a picture of her because I don't see her." So she takes a picture. We got back that night, downloaded it, and there looks like a Indian lady standing out there with an Indian dress on, and I couldn't see her, not with my naked eye,
No.
but she could see her.
Like, there's a couple of times I've been out Bigfoot hunting, right? One time in Tule Creek here in southern New Mexico by Alamogordo, between the Mescalero tribe Apache area and town. In the creek that comes from through that reservation, and this was 2012ish, I guess, maybe in that realm. And I'm tracking Bigfoot. I know how to track them, so I knew what I was going out to, where I was heading, and I didn't hear. I heard them whistling back and forth to me. We were doing whistles and stuff. There's like at least four Sasquatch that were actively whistling back to me from different spots in front of me, behind mosquito bushes. And they had a little shelter. They made a little, wooden, branch, cool little, almost looked like a little, I don't know, for the babies, little toddler hangout. And I was, on camera. I was with my nephew, and I was showing the picture of the structure, or in the video of the structure, and I go, "Here is one of their structures." I didn't hear it. My nephew didn't hear it. But when we went home to watch what we filmed and edit to put it on YouTube, right when I said, "Hey, this is one of the structures right here," we hear what sounds like from behind me. It says, "Bush."
Wow.
Like, it was correcting me. It's not a structure, it's a bush, And then another time in the same area, I was going to the same spot again. Get home, I hear on the video, when I'm walking looking for them because I could smell them, it said, I hear a voice, not like that one, all ruh, ruh, ruh. This one sounded like this. This is really close to what it sounded like. Come this way, come this way. Like that, Another time in the deep forest up in the mountains, I didn't hear it with my own ears. Once I got home, though, and played it, heard it in the audio. Even Tinker Thunker, y'all who know who Tinker Thunker is?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, well, he broke it down, and me and him are friends. And I sent it to him. I was like, "Hey, man, what the hell is it saying?" And after he did his thing, he said that it was a mechanical sound of some electronic thing. He doesn't think it's a voice. But when I just play it on my video, you hear like that, And then I found out from when I traveled to Washington, Oregon, to the tribes up there, that that's what you say when you enter a different tribe's location, and you're a male, and you're saying, "I am here. I am a male. I'm a man."
Right.
And so it's like, is it ghosts that I'm catching, EVPs, or are they talking, mentally and I'm catching it, or are they able to vocalize such low frequency that I couldn't hear them? I don't know. But
I always wondered, because they say that, Lucifer, he had musical talents and stuff, and I always wondered, was that maybe his vocal cords that was passed down, and these things can make sounds higher and lower than what we can hear, and
right,
that's how they communicate.
It falls under, for me, I think that it falls in the world of infrasound, and tigers, elephants, a lot of different animals use infrasound that we can't hear. If you ever do go on YouTube and type in hearing test, and you'll find the ones, if you're over 35, you won't be able to hear this part.
Yeah,
if you're
me.
if you're over 10 years old, you won't be able to hear this part. But people under that age can hear it. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
are they using infrasound for that? And then you got to think. This is my other theory for the cloaking, Bigfoot's cloaking. Okay, so you know that if we vibrate something to a certain vibration, you can't see it. If it's vibrating so fast, you can't see it no more, right?
Mm-hmm.
From analysis of Sasquatch hair, we find out that they don't have a medulla in there, right? No roots. So they're like kind of like fiber optics. We also found out that if this hair is next to a certain anything colored, it absorbs that color. If these individuals know how to manipulate infrasound, because they're not just apes and they just do scary hunting you. If they are that intellectually smart and have a language and know humans very well and are part human, what says that over these thousands of years that they have not figured out how to manipulate the infrasound to their liking? You might feel loved. You might feel scared. You might feel confused. You might feel, anxiety. You know what I mean? So what if they're able to use this infrasound and vibrate themselves with that sound and vibrate those hairs just to us, they look like they disappear and become cloaked when they're not really cloaked. And that's why they still, when they're running away, they're still crunching everything. They're not turning invisible. We just cannot perceive them. Yeah.
Right.
Or blurry photos, or
yeah, exactly. That would explain why the photos are always freaking blurry.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that would be like what adaptive camouflage. They can adapt to the environment.
Yep.
Predator.
Straight up.
Mike, how about those
I always said
eye shots you caught that one night? The eyes literally were glowing, and then they went from a low glow to a really bright glow, like it locked on the mic, like a predator from the Predator movie when it would change from one type of vision to another one. He actually caught that on video on one of his boots on the ground one night.
Oh wow, that's wild. But why not? The octopuses and fishies and deep sea creatures. If you're a nocturnal animal and your thing is dark, there's animals out there that can produce their own luminescence. And if just like I said, if they're smart ones and they've had thousands of years of practice, why not? Why can't they do stuff like that?
I've seen a werewolf disappear right in plain sight. Plain sight, within arm's reach, disappeared right in front of me.
I believe it.
I mean,
man. Have you ever smelled black licorice?
Have you ever smelled black licorice? Who is that? I don't know that person. Is that like the Housewives of Atlanta or something? I don't know. I don't get it. Just kidding. But, yeah, I smelled black licorice many times.
I get that smell a lot down here right before we have an encounter. Every time almost. That will be in the air. It'll be just like somebody opened a pack of black licorice, and it's like, because even the kids, when we're out there, that's like, I smell candy. And it was
that's weird.
And it don't make any sense, it's like, unless they're doing it to maybe get your attention,
maybe
to see how you react, or maybe the kids, kids like candy, and
it's just like the great apes, gorillas, chimpanzees. When they're agitated, they excrete pheromones through their glands to ward off other animals or other gorillas. When they're distressed, a whole different smell happens. If these animals are able to control these, workings in their body, then I don't see why they wouldn't do that to elicit different responses from us. If I were you in those areas, I'd be a wisecracker and go take some licorice out there and stick it in certain places and be like that. They'll know you're there and sniff and go, I see you. And give them that licorice candy.
But try that and see what happens.
I'll be
Yep.
the next one on the lost tapes.
Right?
My reporter, but not me.
Yep.
We don't want to see
Yeah, I mean,
David Pilates in 411, Mike. We really don't want to.
yeah, I'm trying to avoid that show. I don't want to be on that show. But yeah, I mean, even at Granny's, there was weird things that would happen at night. It had to be paranormal because Mom said they would be asleep in the kitchen. It would sound like somebody opened a bag of beans and poured them all over the floor. You run in there and there's nothing there. The doors are locked. The windows are locked.
Yep. I had a time. It was in Las Cruces, and double wide trailer, wide awake, but we had no electricity, so it was pitch black in our house. And it was me and the roommate, and the visitations had gotten so crazy that they were coming out in the newspaper and being reported to the military and the neighbors. One day, the neighborhood kids, they called me the UFO guy, and all the neighborhood kids came banging on our door and yelling, UFO guy, UFO guy. And I opened the door and I'm like, what do you little rascals want? Stop playing being mean. I'm not the UFO guy, And they're like, no, look, there's a UFO over your house. It was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was like, damn. And I look out the door and sure enough, there was a big glowing white disc over my house. And that's when I noticed their moms and dads standing in the up there in the road, staring over the house too. I was like, God, this is not good. And I looked at it, I go, I see you. And it shot up over to the mountain range and turned into 3 balls of white light and just started spinning for hours and hours. And it came out in the newspapers and all 911 lines in 3 cities in that area were jammed with 911 reports. And so I was getting messed with a lot, And later that night, me and my friend, it got to the point where we were experimenting and stuff, like kind of call them and see if they would, respond because they'd show up in the house and run amok. And that night, we're in the living room, and it's the living room and the kitchen are kind of together, open, And he had I'll just say a naughty magazine on the table, and the house was just dark, no light, couldn't see. No, we're just sitting in the living room like this, hearing all these noises. And we hear a table, a plate that was on the table fall onto the ground and go, how tables will do, they go on the ground, but plates, they'll rock. And then we heard the magazine being looked through. The pages. I'm like, dirty bird of the aliens. And, hearing stuff fall on the ground, and then when we could see again, we had a flashlight, but we were like testing. You know what I mean? I don't do that. Go get you. Nothing. Magazine was closed. Table on the plate was on the table. Nothing had fallen, and we were like, "Why the hell are we?" You know what I mean? And then they went into the room, whatever it was that was in the room, and started jumping on the bed, knocked over. I had, they used. I don't know if they still have these at Walmart, but a long time ago, they used to have these cardboard drawers you could fold up into 2 drawers or 3 drawers. They're cardboard though, and I kept all my drawing pencils and coloring pencils in that thing. So it was a real distinct sound when it falls over. Because if you had heavy stuff on the top and you bump into it barely, But yeah, again, went into the room. It was upright, hadn't fallen, nothing. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. Like before he realized what was happening to us, because I hadn't quite told him about all that stuff. This my cousin's boyfriend, baby daddy, mother had a bazillion kids, and she didn't like him anymore. So she gave 4 of them to me in the house, had me take over. And so these kids didn't know about any of this stuff, And one night, my friend said that he saw a witch in my room. They heard a noise, went to the room, and he saw this witch. And I remembered the same thing. I was in the room and I saw this. I thought it was a witch because it had green skin, and ugly as hell. And I started levitating, I guess, floating, whatever you want to call it, out of my bed. And apparently, I think I was supposed to go through the roof, but for whatever reason, I couldn't. And it was squishing me against the roof. I was like, this hurts. It's going to hurt. And it stopped, and I fell on the bed. Wham! It dropped me on the bed. And the next day, I was talking to my friend. I was something weird last night by chance. He was like, yeah, dude, yeah. And he tells me what he remembered. And I go, I was hoping that was just a dream. I go, but if that actually happened, dude, because I had my bed, it was just a box spring on the floor, mattress on top, no frame or nothing. And I'm a big dude. I'm a heavy guy, Right now, I'm quite petite at a nice 280 pounds. But at the time, I was way heavier. And I said, well, if that really happened, the box spring would be broken, the boards. And I was it's it. So we lifted it up, and sure enough, 4 of the boards were smashed from me falling down from up there, So it's just like,
Wow.
it's wild stuff, man. It's like it's a crapshoot for me to figure out which one's doing this time, which one's messing with me, and yeah, the older I get, the more I try not to be so stressed about it. Which normal people would be like, "Oh my God, aliens, Bigfoot, ghosts, ah!" But I'm just like, man, it's time to pay rent. Could y'all hold off on that whole abduction thing for a second? I gotta go, do something real quick, guys. But yeah, I don't know. That's why they find me interesting because I don't react to them the way a lot of people do. I guess I don't know. I think, like I said, I think it's honestly a bloodline thing. I'm typo negative. Blood. Rh negative. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but all the other abductees and people that see ghosts and whatnot, a lot of them have that blood, some type of Rh negative. I'm friends with Travis Walton from Fire in the Sky, same blood. I ended up running into other abductees, not planning it. And at some point, same story comes up. They have the same exact blood as me, So I don't know if that's part of it or it just makes a cool band name.
No.
Did they bother you on the set when you was filming and stuff? Did they follow you there also?
Yeah, no matter where I was, I'll see the UFOs and stuff. Not too much. Well, they've come into the hotels because when I get, go to movies and do my film and stuff, they set you up in a hotel, and everything. But yeah, they come to the hotel. They visit me in hotels and stuff. But actually on set, I haven't had too much occur. But the other actors are always like, between the scenes, tell us about that stuff. You're that dude, huh? Yeah. It's wild, man.
That is some crazy stuff. I've kept you over 2 hours now, man. I could talk to you all night. A lot of what you say just is so similar, to what I went through that it's amazing to me how everything can be so far apart, but yet it's so similar. Like how they react, it's
for
wild.
real. What's planned for another a video soon, man? Another podcast soon, and I'm happy to do it again. Don't care how, whenever. Let's figure out a date, and we'll continue. Part 2.
Yeah, because
I
mean, and you may have answers that that we've wondered about because I know there's so much that when I was little, even you would wonder, why are you here? Why would you come all the way up here just to knock on the window and then leave?
Right.
And Granny, of course, I'd always ask Granny, a million questions because she raised my mom and all of them in this, and then with us as grandkids, she had 8 kids, and she would always say, I don't know why they do it. She's like, we don't bother them, and they don't bother us. They didn't take chickens, they didn't take the pigs, they didn't mess with the garden. Now, I'll tell you one quick story before we go, and this is an amazing story to me. Is when all this was happening, before I was ever born, there was this guy that lived in town, and he was known as, the badass of the town. He would, fight anybody, the tough guy, wasn't scared of nobody. And he was young, like 18, 20. So he told my granny, he's like, I'll get rid of whatever that is for you. Because my grandpa was always gone in Mexico and New Mexico. He was a logger, and he'd be gone a week at a time. So he's like, I'll get rid of that for you. It's just a pervert, no big deal. So he's sitting on the couch, all, got his shirt on, cigarettes rolled up, and he's going to take care of this, sitting in there. And sure enough, it shows up, starts knocking on the back door. He runs out the front door, runs around the back of the house. He's going to take care of this thing. Walks in the front door, they said, fell on the couch, white as a sheet. And they're like, what happened? Wouldn't talk about it. So I got older in 2021, and I reached out to him because he would never tell anybody what he saw that night. And I started doing this, and I was like, I'd like to know what he saw. So his daughter, I talked to her, and she was like, he won't talk about it. And I said, will he talk to me about it? And, she's like, no, he won't talk about it. So like 3 weeks later, she tells me that he passed away from COVID, but he wrote me a letter while he was sick. And in the letter, I read it on the channel. He said that night, whenever he walked around the corner of Granny's house, she would always dump her scraps out the back door into a hog trough for all the animals. He said, when I came around the side of the house, it was eating the scraps, and it was standing sideways. He said it looked like a werewolf, and it wasn't eating out of the front of its mouth. It was like cramming the food in the side of its mouth, and he said it had it all over it. It was like running down it, and that really wasn't the part that scared him the worst. He said it looked at me, it smiled, and it said, hello. And he said, I was gone. He said, I knew, I knew at that moment, if it wanted me, it could have me. It was not scared. And he never went back. He never went back down there. Never. He was like, nope, I'm not going back down there.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I guess that kind of reminds me of like how with me, I was a bouncer, bodyguard, professional scary dude. So scary that Hollywood said, "Can we use you to be a scary guy in the movies too?" But when I'm out there around those things, I'm the little guy. I'm the little feller. So I don't have to feel well. Because usually when I'm around people I don't know, they don't know me. They don't know I'm an actor. They don't know jack nothing about it. They just see big 6'3", goatee tattoos everywhere, scary looking dude. There's an intimidation factor, which that was my cup of tea for work. Being a bouncer and bodyguard, intimidation is a bitch. You know what I mean? And when I'm out there, nobody's intimidated by me. Nobody cares. They know they can go, my little head. You know what I mean? and I know that, and I accept that, and I tell them thank you for that, because
Right.
I get to just be me, and I feel that, as stupid as it sounds, I feel at home when I'm around those scary bastards, and I don't know. You remember the old Bugs Bunny cartoon, but the original stuff, not the new crap they have, where he gets stuck on that deserted island and there's gorillas there, and that one gorilla lady, she takes him and makes him her baby.
Yeah.
That's how I feel around them, because I've been around some big ones, and yeah. But yeah, I'd love to do this again, guys. I had fun. Sorry I was late, but
no.
yeah, just let me know when I'm down. I got so much more to tell. You know what I mean?
Hey, we would love to have you back. I love listening. I love hearing the encounters and stuff. It just brings back so many memories. But yeah, we would love to have. Maybe we can get some pictures next time. Maybe we'll show some pictures.
For sure. I will send you a lot of stuff that I talked about. I have, like I said, that's the crazy part. I have pictures of all this stuff. I have pictures of demons. I believe demons. I have one coming out of the ground, out of the floor. You can see half of the stage.
I think I've seen that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then on the couch, you can see the silhouette of another one throwing up a peace sign with bony hands and scraggly hair and stuff. I have pictures of looks like a zombie crawling out of a little box. Just a bunch of wild stuff. So let's do that. I'll send all those pictures and we can prepare for the next one.
Yeah.
We will definitely do that. I appreciate you so much for coming on. We really do.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
And thank you
Yeah.
and your time, giving us your time.
Happy
It's
to.
amazing.
Thank you all out
to
there
somebody-
in YouTube land, and wherever the hell you're watching it from. Thank you.
All right, man. We will let you run. I appreciate you so much.
You guys have a
Yep.
good night.
You too. Have a great
You
night.
too.
Stay safe. Don't let everything bite. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good night, guys. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
That guy's got some amazing stories.
Oh man, yeah, he
Man,
does.
you know-
I can't forward to his next trip here. That's going to be so much fun.
I don't know if I could handle some of the encounters he's had that close.
Yeah. He's had some very, very interesting encounters, experiences, all of the above.
Most
That
definitely.
was very interesting. Yes. And don't forget, guys, before everybody jumps out of here, next Monday we have Travis Carpenter is going to be coming on, and he's going to be explaining the DNA study they done, the process, and how it could not have been manipulated or changed. And he's going to give us a good inside look to what these creatures really are next Monday night. So don't miss that. Travis has so much information that he's gathered from his dad, Scott Carpenter, I believe to be one of the legends in this field that I believe was the ones that proved that they do come from an angelic being, aka Nephilim, aka Eliads on down. But I think it's a very good thing to be able to look at not just people's encounters, but to be able to put the data behind what is out there to prove that it's there. I mean, there's one thing that I always tell my team, and Jesse and Randy know that I say this a lot. We're here to share facts and encounters. And if it entertains at the same time, then we will enjoy the entertainment. But I would rather bring you truth over entertainment. And I would rather be a person that investigates than a person that tells stories. Because I'm looking for answers and I'm looking for truths, and I want to know what these are, why they do it, where they came from, and what makes them tick, what makes them do what they do. And with saying that, I'll throw Jessie on the spot and let her have her last say, and then we'll let Randy, and we'll start walking out of this one.
Yeah. I was trying to say thank you to everyone in the chat, but for some reason my thing's not working. So I'll just say it. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you, Jesus, for being here tonight. I hope everybody had a good time and maybe got something out of it, because I sure did. Every single time I hear him, I go walk away with something else. So everybody, thank you again for being here. Again, couldn't be here without you guys. And hope everybody stays warm. And I hope everyone has a great week coming up. Randy, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank you for showing up and supporting the Abnormal Investigation Channel. Remember, the Abnormal Investigation Channel is shining a light into the darkness, revealing the truth about the real world we live in. Good night, and God bless.
And with that being said, Randy, I appreciate Randy stepping up and helping us, guys. As y'all know, we've had a few people that's had to leave the show. And the reason they left the show is because they became under attack. Their family became under attack. And they chose their family over the show, which I think everybody should 100% of the time. So thank you for what they brought to the show. Thank you for the time that they were here. God puts people in our lives at certain times for certain events. And every now and then, God has to rearrange the order and the people that are in your lives for the battle that's coming. And when you reach that final battle, God will have your strongest soldiers in the front line. Everybody had a piece of the puzzle, but when the time comes for the final battle, He will have only his best men forward. And I feel like that's where our channel's headed. We have stood strong. We have stood on his word. And we continue to stand on his word. And he says when we have done all that we can do, we're to stand. Right, Randy?
Amen.
We're standing. So with that being said, guys, I hope that everybody finds peace, that this can come to a conclusion and everything. Make no mistake, I do not find what has happened fun. I find it sad with the events that are to come, because it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Not for me, but it is going to go down that path. As always, guys, fill the chat full of Purple Hearts for Hunter. Let him know we miss and love him, guys. Don't forget to join us next Monday for the live. It'll have Travis Carpenter. I may do a live this Thursday coming up. I'm thinking about doing something over another case I've been looking at, so I may throw Randy and Jesse in on that one. They'll be familiar with it. But I've been looking at something that's really catching my eye. It's an actual case that unfortunately had another death, but I want to look at it. It has a lot of circumstances I don't think add up, so we may break that down Thursday. And as always, guys, we love you. Thank you for being part of our family, and we'll see you on the next one. And don't forget, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner, because they might eat you from the toes up. We'll see you on the next.
Good night.